There's our
Do
thoughts
you
on
think
that. Go ahead.
uh I've had this conversation with people before, like, because New York has, I mean, this is off topic, okay? But New York has clearly had trouble um getting free agents there over the last several years. So they've chosen to invest in like Brunson and RJ Barrett and re-signing Mitchell Robinson. And I don't even remember the exact stat, but like I think RJ and Mitchell Robinson are like two, they're like the only two rookies that the Knicks have re-signed over like so so many years or something like that, which is kind of a crazy stat. But I had this conversation with someone and they were like, "Man, Brunson got overpaid," and which I agree with, but at the same time, don't they have to pay someone? Like, they do have to pay someone, right? If they wanna get some of these guys might be getting contracts that maybe, you wouldn't expect them to get somewhere else, but no one's been wanting to go there. Like, no one has gone there. So, they gotta pay for something, right? I don't feel like they have a superstar. I wouldn't consider Brunson and RJ guys that are gonna fulfill this NBA superstar role, like, neither of them are probably even gonna be all-stars, and so, it's just kinda one of those things of like, okay, I guess they're investing in, I don't know, mid to, upper tier players in the NBA. I wonder if it will pay off for them, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. Like, is this gonna pay off for them? Are the Knicks gonna be relevant? I I don't know. They're not on anyone's list that we didn't talk about them earlier in the pod about like sleepers or anything, but they got like these three dudes plus Randall that they're paying for. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
still not relevant. So it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. And it's crazy to me that a market like that, I think a lot of it has to do with like the ownership and all of that too. But
Big time.
the Knicks cannot get anyone good, which is just crazy. It's like the basketball mecca. They can't get any like NBA superstars. So, you know, hopefully like guys like Barrett and Brunson and Robinson and Randall, like they can make something of it and live up to it. They're getting an opportunity, that's for sure. And if they make an opportunity of it, then they'll be household names forever. So, um, yeah, it's just really interesting. Like, we didn't grow up in an era where the Knicks were relevant, like the best Knicks that we've seen were
Mellow.
like mellow and like
Yeah.
they were winning like maybe one playoff series and that was it. But like we haven't ever seen, like we weren't around when they were good and like, the 90s and stuff and playing in the playoffs and all that. So just it's really interesting. Like we've never actually got to experience that. Um, I don't know. I know that's super off topic, but it's just weird to talk about. Like it's like the
Yeah.
biggest market in basketball and these dudes like are not successful.
Yeah. I mean, by far the best era of Knicks basketball was Linsanity. I think that's, hands down. That was one of the
That's true.
most
I can't
insane
forget
things.
that. I can't forget that. That was wild. A couple
That
weeks.
was
Those are like amazing weeks.
that run was unbelievable. Um, that's a whole different it's a whole different pod. But yeah, I think you're right. It's hard to look at what they're doing and really be like, yes, this is the formula. I think their only chance, at least like in the near future, is um even though yes, it is New York, it is the Knicks, which usually that would have a little bit of a pull on some free agents to go there and play. I think just because their actual on the court play hasn't really reflected what the idea of playing in New York City would be like. There's a little bit of a tax in having to go play there, like for the owners to pay them. It's like, hey, if we're gonna put anything together, we're gonna have to overpay some people to like
Right.
convince people to get here. So I think really what they're at now is like if you look at their cast, it's not terrible by any means, but yeah, like you're saying, like there's no all-stars on that team. And maybe one of them sneaks in if somebody plays really well and there's a lot of
Right. Right.
injuries, but
Maybe one. Maybe one does.
but yeah, that's a pretty, far cry there. But I think their best chance at this point is like having this current team be just a really solid like supporting cast to getting a superstar. And that's obviously like the biggest hurdle that they have to get is getting that superstar that fits with that team that actually wants to play in New York, which is like that's the toughest thing. And I don't know
Right.
exactly what it is, but you would think that eventually there's got to be someone who's thinking like I just need my own team to show people what I can do. And it might be like, you know, somebody who might be from New York, somebody who might be, just at the moment doesn't have any other good options for a team to be like, that's the team that I want to take over and lead to the promised land. Like it could just be like, well, now's my time to strike, and New York happens to be the best supporting cast they have available. That's like really their only chance. So I think they're really going to
Right.
have to bite the bullet and pay that luxury tax and just overpay people like crazy for a few years to like hopefully reestablish some culture, hopefully lay the groundwork of success, and then that's when you start buying into the it's New York City, the Mecca, like the history of New York and all this kind of a thing. But that's like their best chance. I don't see any other way because they're clearly not very good at drafting. They're just not. Um,
And unfortunately, I feel like they have to do it through the draft because it's like not saying that these guys wouldn't be a part of some great trade package in the future, but now you got like these few guys that have crazy contracts. And so it's like our team's going to be wanting to, or willing to take those things on. Like I feel like they've kind of chosen like this is our core for the next handful of years and we got to go with it sort of thing. So I don't know. I haven't really looked. I'd be interested to kind of see what like like outside of their top 4 or 5 guys being paid, like I wonder what the rest of the contracts look like if they're like 1 year contracts or um, like do they have flexibility in the off season still over the next handful of years? It's just kind of
yeah,
interesting
that would be interesting to look at. I'm also interested to see how Obi Toppin develops. I don't think he's
for sure.
I don't think he's like on the brink of superstardom, but I think there's flashes where it's like you could
He's fun to watch.
yeah, he's fun to watch and he could definitely contribute.